Welcome to Acorn to Oak with Pennie Pierce and co-host Matthew Donachie. Within each acorn, there is the DNA that strives to be a mighty oak tree. All it needs to reach its potential for greatness is to be activated. You are the acorn. On this show, we will share with you the tools and guidance you need to grow into the person you are meant to be. And now your host, Pennie Pierce and co-host Matthew Donachie.
Hey, good evening everybody. It's Matthew Donachie here, and tonight I'm joined by Adam Weller and Adina Newton. And the reason I'm joined by both of them is because we'd wanted to do tonight's show very much around what is Acorn to Oak and what is some of the services that we offer. We've done a lot of talks around some of the stuff we've done, but it's very much talking about some of our experiences and why we found some of the courses and the trainings so valuable within our own lives, and think it's pivotal at the moment for people to realise some of the trainings that are out there that could really help them. So just giving the other guys a chance to introduce themselves.
Yeah, hello, good evening everybody, or good afternoon, depending on where you're coming from. Yeah, a really interesting show tonight, and yeah, it's fun, having spent a lot of time with Acorn to Oak, that I'm really looking forward to.
Hi everyone, Adina here, and so pleased to be back with yourselves, and I'm looking forward to the show tonight and talking with you about the amazing Acorn to Oak.
Good. So yeah, I just wanted to sort of share a little bit of my experience and some of the stuff that I've done in my training that's helped me. And the thing I found that I've loved about the trainings is even the smallest online trainings that I've done have been just as valuable as some of the larger trainings. So although they're very different, and of course you would get more out of a longer intensive course, but it's some of the smaller stuff that we've done online, some of the online webinars, and that's the sort of stuff that we're going to be sort of starting up again. It's things around zero clearing. We'll be doing stuff around NLP, so a lot of mindset stuff, but also a lot of stuff working on the emotional side. So I think if I was to be very honest, my preference with trainings, and again what I've loved about Acorn to Oak trainings is the intensity, and that's why I think given the choice what course would I pick, it would be an intensive. The unfortunate thing at the moment is obviously with the corona and social distancing, some of the retreats and the real intensive courses that I love aren't currently running. However, will be later in the year. I have no doubt. But yeah, the intensive stuff really, I love it. It's the juicy stuff. There's a lot of stuff I find out there that's I know you would say fluffy bunnies in America, and we would say sort of love and light, which is there's a lot of talking and not a lot of action, and we're quite the opposite at Acorn to Oak, and it's very much about dealing or getting down to the root cause of an issue. So whether that root cause is an emotional issue or an emotional block or a mental block, in way of a negative thought form, it's breaking through those what seem like small things, but actually when you look at the intensity of the work, it's because the work's intense, you get to the root real quick. Literally just dealing with one unhelpful thought form can completely change the experience you get in life. I'm sure the other two would say exactly the same thing. Like some of the very small sort of bits of information you get can completely transform the way you feel and the way you think, but the experiences you then attract, because it's like the ripple effect.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it only takes sort of a minute change. You know, we often refer to it as course adjustments, and it's, you know, very much a case of you may only move to the right 1 millimetre, but if you then look at that on a trajectory, you know, 10 foot ahead of you, you've moved a centimetre. So for 1 millimetre of movement and course adjustment, you've got a major change to your overall destination.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Adina, I know you've got a few lists, or a list of a few courses that we're going to be up and coming, and share some of your experience around what's been your favourites, because I'm sure they're probably different from ours.
Yes, very much so. Well, actually, just as you said, I do enjoy the retreats as well, just mainly because you're isolated and from the world and from really the chaos that is going out there, and you're able to go within in a safe space, and you are in this bubble of unconditional love and acceptance for the period of time that you're there. But I also do love the wild women, which obviously yourselves being men, you haven't really been part of one. But I absolutely love the wild women because it's such an empowering retreat. You're able to really explore the goddess within and know yourself on so many other levels. So yeah, that's one of my favorite ones as well.
Yeah, I think I'll own my jealousy around that one, because the course, yeah, okay, I'm a man, but the course for what you guys do, or what you girls do while you're away, it does just sound brilliant, you know. It's like, yeah, I want to do that, but you know, I'm a bloke, so I can't.
Yeah, I think probably one of my favourite courses was Inner Balance, and it was just so amazing to me. I mean, I think I did the course twice, and while I'm talking, I'm thinking Inner Balance is actually something that we could offer online, because Inner Balance is all around men learning about women and women learning about men in a very honest, open and trusting environment. And you find that actually when men feel safe enough around women to be really honest about how we truly think and feel, and women do exactly the same, the results are absolutely amazing. I, on my first Inner Balance course, realised that 99.9% of problems between men and women are caused because of bad communication. And it's nothing to do with men being different to women and women being different to men. Because if we accept the fact that men are slightly different to men than women are, and women are for no other reason than we're just different, we're not doing it to be annoying or to upset anybody. It just is. That's how we work. When you accept that and you can work with it, it becomes real easy. But all the time you fight it and you make it wrong, it just makes things harder. And I realised that actually listening to couples fight and argue, they never really actually get to a common ground, and then very rarely working together. And that's what the Inner Balance course taught me. One of the very easy points I can give you is men don't understand, or most men don't understand why being 10 minutes late is a big deal. Because our thought form is, oh, shall I text the wife? It's okay, I'll only be 10 minutes. When he walks in and the wife goes absolutely crazy because for the last 10 minutes she's been driving herself crazy, thinking he could have had an accident, he could have been murdered, he could have been shot, anything could have happened. Men think of one thing at a time. So a man will think, oh, it's only 10 minutes, it's okay, I'll jump in the car, and the quicker I get there, the better. Whereas a woman, they're used to, and this is just a generalisation, some women do work slightly differently, as do some men, but in general, women think of 15 things at once. So whereas a man's only thinking one thing, they're thinking 15 things could have happened to him. And a man sort of turns around and goes, oh, well, what's the big deal? I'm only 10 minutes late. And she's like, well, what do you mean, what's the big deal? I've been going absolutely nuts in my own head because I'm worried about you, because you couldn't be bothered to send me a text 10 minutes before you left, whatever it was. And it's kind of like, you think, how many couples go through that argument daily? Whereas if the men just got the little bit of information, you just go, okay, I can work with that. I don't understand it. However, I can work with that. It's not a problem. And so it's not making things a big deal or making the other sex wrong, but learning to work with them and have humour with it as well. Because, yes, men will have traits that women in general don't particularly like, and it goes the other way around. But it's having fun with it and going, nobody's perfect, and actually let's try and work together on it. And so within my life, I have women turning around and going, oh my God, who are you? Like, can you come around and teach my husband the stuff that you know? Because you're just like different from all the others. And it's like, it all comes down to taking the time to understand. And that's what I really loved about getting down to the nitty gritty and the honesty. And I found that with a lot of the courses as well. When you work with Acorn to Oak, it's there's no judgment. Whatever you're going through or you need to go through on a course, there's never any judgment. And the chances are, if you're going through something, one of the people at Acorn to Oak has been through it, so there's always a familiarity, I find, with the coaching and that sort of thing.
Yeah, they do. There is no coincidence. They do all seem to have a bit of a mind or a life of their own, and a hard and fast rule with Acorn to Oak, especially if it is the retreats you're looking at. The name says it all. So you've got Mining the Gold Within, which is a 14-day intensive. And it is exactly that. It's it's the real deep work that Matthew was just talking about. It's the going in and really exploring. Whether it's inner balance, where it's more yin and yang, or becoming alive. It is exactly that. Break for freedom. They all, they do what they say, but they have a life. They have this way of just moving where everybody does get what they need, and very much like Matthew has just said, there is no coincidence that you'll wake up in the morning and you'll be feeling pretty mad and pretty sad about something, and we do spend a lot of time checking in and sort of using various different processes to help us get to the root cause of these issues. And it'll turn out there'll be 8 of you sat in the room, and 3 of you will be dealing with problem A, should we say. 4 people will be dealing with problem B, and 1 person, actually, they're pretty good this morning, so they're just sort of holding the fort for the others.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's something we were discussing. I mean, obviously, I'm not sure how it is in America, but over in the UK, one of the big things we've been told today is that although lockdown may end pretty soon, social distancing could go on for quite a long time. So for people out there that I know people were hoping to do sort of retreats and something like that, it's letting everybody know that actually, the world has changed slightly at the moment, and personally I see it as a good thing, because huge things are going to come out of this in the bigger picture. But it's like courses, everyone seems to be sort of worried of, we won't be able to do sort of retreats and things like that, and it's kind of like they'll just change slightly. So rather than doing a 4-day retreat where you're away, we'd do like a 3-hour webinar in the morning. You'd be allocated a certain practitioner during the lunchtime break where you'd do a breath work, and then you come back into class for a couple of hours in the afternoon. And that was the first thought that came to my sort of self when I heard the news, was it's sort of like, well, it's not a problem, you just work it. It happens. And I think when you're passionate about the work that you do and the work that also I've done with Acorn to Oak, ultimately, if I hadn't done the work with them, I wouldn't be where I am now. So life is peachy compared to what it used to be, and it's because of the deep work that I've done. And people still need that. Like, yes, we have an issue at the moment, but things don't stop, and services are still needed, and we're not here to sell. We're here to give information around courses that have sort of helped us and courses that we're involved with now, because we're not sort of, I know there's been a lot of pressure out there with online stuff and book into this and book into that, and it's just a lot of hard sell, which I just don't think people respond to. I certainly don't. I think what people respond to is honesty, and it's something I'm using in my practice. I mean, I haven't stopped doing breath works. I'm still doing them online. So again, yes, I've had to change it up a bit, but I'm offering half price sessions to anyone within the NHS. I know other breathwork practitioners, Adam and Adina being one of them, do offer a discount for NHS staff, but at this time it's kind of like, well, I'll offer them even more off.
Oh, absolutely.
And
yeah.
It's kind of like, we're still here to provide services, but at discount, because everybody is in this together. And it's not about pushing everything out there and getting numbers and selling online this and that and the other. We're very much more interested in going on a journey with people. And it's not about sales, it's about quality. And that's what I love about the work that I do. It is very much to that style. It's that spiritual element. It's coming from, it's for everybody's highest will and good. So that's very much why we wanted to just talk about what we do and say to people that, yeah, there's a lot of craziness going on and there's a lot of stuff going on. Even if you just need to sort of reach out. I know Adina is sort of very much an active member of the community at the moment, and you can probably tell us about how that's benefited you, and even if nothing else, just joining a community of like-minded people can really help and guide you in the right direction.
Yes, very much so, Matthew. And also Acorn at the moment, as you said, we're really in the community building, and therefore we offer a free online community calls, and they're on a Thursday at 1 p.m. GMT and also on a Monday at 8 p.m. GMT. So again, because we together as a collective are going through massive transformation, and the uncertainty of not knowing what it looks like, not knowing how is it going to be when we come out of the other side, and all the other things create a lot of thoughts, a lot of worry, etc., etc. So we are in the business of building together, of being real, of getting back to basics, and because of that we're offering the online courses, which are run by Pennie peers, and they're of great value and just community, just soulfulness. Obviously I'm part of them as well, and it's just giving you the space to take a breath and be able to talk to people like-minded. And, as you said earlier, if one of them says, actually I feel a bit anxious, you'll bet there'll be 5 other people on the call or even more who will breathe a sigh of relief that, you know what, I'm feeling the same. And I'm so glad that you said it, because I'm not the only one now.
Yeah.
So, yes. Yes, so as you said as well, we also offer online coaching and online breath work as well, which are of great value. Thank you.
Cool. So we're just going into the first break, so we'll see you guys after the break.
Conscious connection to a more mindful world. Om Times Radio, IOM FM. Om Times Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization Their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Om Times, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
I'm Kathy Williams, host of Sexy Mom Abundant Life radio show on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. On the show, we explore living abundantly in every area of your life. Ways to let go of limiting patterns and beliefs and to step into the flow of creativity and possibility, knowing you are supported by the universe.
We are talking about your life. Ever wonder, is this as good as it gets? No, it could be so much better. At Acorn to Oak, we know you are seeking more happiness, joy, unconditional love, financial freedom, passion, and purpose. Find your unique mojo and live an extraordinary life. Want to know more? Contact us at our website, acorntooak.org.uk.
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #alone together. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. So I'm here with Adam and Adina, and we're just discussing all things Acorn to Oak, really, and very much what we're about. I know Adina was talking about the community, and I was saying that it's very good to be discerning when you're in these times when some might say the sharks are in the water. It's good to be discerning, and people that are offering free things like communities to get people talking and just offer help and support is a really good sort of base to start. I know I like the word tribe myself personally. To me, I refer to my clients as my tribe, and it is very much about being there for people and good education, really. And finding a group of people that have that. And I think that's why we're passionate about talking about our journeys, because it has been so pivotal that we're all, I mean, I'm at the stage I'm running my own clinic and that sort of thing. I know Adam and Adina are sort of working up to that. And it's that whole, it's changed our lives so much. It's like, why would you want to do any other job? And that's what I love about my job, is the focus is on helping people moving forwards in their lives as quickly and as gracefully as possible. And it's saying, I'll walk through your personal storm with you, just as Pennie did for me. And it's that sort of passing on the baton, so to speak. And I know Adam's very sort of passionate about where your journey started, because for you it was just that life changes. And you know, for me, I was sort of thinking while we was on the break, it was like, well, actually, what excuse me, what did I really enjoy about Acorn to Oak? And there was a few things that popped in, and I know Adina was just speaking about it, but the sense of community, you know, and it doesn't matter whether it's a webinar or even a Facebook group, you know, we have a couple set up and that sort of thing. But it's the contact afterwards. It's you don't come on this retreat, do some real incredible life-changing work, thank you for your money and see you again. There's always someone around to chat. There is always someone there. There's always clarity calls and, you know, get in touch within a week and let's see how you're doing and that sort of thing. But for me, one of the things I think
really stand out about Acorn to Oak is the training, and for me especially the Reiki side of it. It was, I mean, when I done my Reiki run in 2013, that was, for me, that was a day where I actually sort of took responsibility and control of my life, and if I'm being honest, actually sort of stepped up a little bit and become an adult and actually know that, you know, this life is my doing, and it is my responsibility to make it better, because right here, right now, it's not great. But going through some of the Reiki training and just some of the experiences and some of the learning that you have, you know, in some of the ways that you are taught, you know, there are times that you are literally thrown in at the deep end to see if you can swim. Yeah. Because otherwise you're just never going to learn, you know. And I mean, for me, and once again, there are no coincidences, but when I first started doing Reiki, I had a real fascination with the Japanese tradition of it and the Japanese culture of it. And to give you a very brief synopsis, it was very much an apprenticeship. So you would go and you would study with your Reiki master, and you would learn and you would train as you go, and then you would be given your attunements sort of from Reiki 1 to Reiki 2 up to Reiki mastership. And okay, albeit in a very modern world and in a very Western way, that's what I'd done. I'd done an apprenticeship in Reiki. At the time I was doing my training, Acorn to Oak were doing loads of shows like Holistic and Mystic, Mind, Body and Spirit, fairs and that sort of thing. And obviously we'd set up stalls and we'd give treatments. And at the time, you know, one of the things, I've always been quite quiet, relatively shy and reserved and quite introverted. So I made the decision, well, actually, that's something I would like to improve in life. So I started helping out on these shows and doing these shows and this, that, the other. And, you know, if you'd have said to me 7 or 8 years ago, you know, forgetting all the other plethora of things that I've learned with Acorn to Oak, but if you'd have said to me 8 years ago that I'm going to be on a radio show talking about experiences and this, I would have probably sworn at you, but there's just no way I would thought I was ever capable of doing something like that. You know, and it's something me and Matthew often joke about, because I remember standing at a show one day, and Matthew sort of always been sort of quite charismatic and you know, finds it sort of very easy to talk to people, and I sort of remember saying to him once, like, yeah, I don't know, I just can't talk to people like you do. You know, you get out there and you talk, and he's just sort of stood there and looked at me and gone, mate, what have you done for the last 3 hours? I was like, oh, well, I had a chat with them about Reiki and about that and about that. And I hadn't realised that I'd actually made a massive change in my life. But because I was just sort of doing it as I go, I'd almost missed the fact that I'd done what I'd set out to do and some, you know, and it's just always pearls beyond price.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember that day fondly. It was one of those moments where someone just doesn't realise how far they've come, and they're out there doing it, but they're saying, "Oh, I'm not sure I could do that," and I'm sure Adina could say the same thing. I know I can. I would say the same thing, that I never thought I'd reach where I have today and be able to help so many people in so many ways, and that's just absolutely priceless.
Yeah, it really does. It's what inspired me to actually sort of start, you know, training in breathwork when I made that decision a few years ago and that sort of thing, because it was that, you know, for me, that it's how do I give back? How do I give people the opportunities that I've had? How do I give that space to people and, you know, sort of give them the time that they need to work through their stuff, to make those course adjustments, to get to unbelievable heights in their life. And it sort of, in some ways, it all comes back to Acorn to Oak and what we're taught from the beginning, because there's, you know, it is very much you give what you give out, you get back, you know, and it's not, obviously not doing it for return, but it's like, wow, you know, this, and I'm sure Adina will agree, this has changed all of our lives beyond recognition. And, you know, it's just like, well, what else can you do? For me, it's like you've got to just give this back and, shout it from the rooftops, because we are a slightly different organisation. We have many tools, but we get the job done, and boy, do we have some fun along the way. I mean, there's countless sort of stories and laugh minutes that you have on these retreats or courses, and it's like you can. And this is, in some ways, this is the great thing about them that I think people don't understand. I think they hear about deep inner work and think, oh, no, I can't do that. It's going to be like being sandblasted. And even at the times that it feels like that, you'll sit down for dinner with everybody else that's all in the same boat and they've all got their own stuff going on. But yeah, it's that sense of community. It's that I'm not alone, and somehow you find yourselves laughing hysterically over the dinner table about anything and everything, and it.
Yeah, I think for me that's one of the most amazing things is that, yes, when it's serious, it's very serious, and you'll blast through stuff that you never thought you could even go near, or at least that was my experience. And it's kind of like everything is very safe, very respectful, and completely confidential. And what happens on tour stays on tour, apart from one thing. And what bleeds into everyday life is exactly what Adam was just saying. It's the belly laughs that you have along the way. And it's the going through things that are tough for you, that you need to go through to live the life that you dream of. It's like when you go through that with other companions and you realise that actually they hold the same respect and confidentiality for you as you do for them. It gives you that sense of real humanity, and it's kind of like you come together as a group. And so the laughs, everyone just relaxes so much and becomes themselves. And so in the down times, you just have such laughs. And then so if you're feeling slightly down at one time, it's kind of like if you're in the community group, someone could just say one thing. Oh, do you remember the Ooh La La retreat? And everyone that was there knows what they're talking about, and it's really funny, and it can just lift people up. And people that don't know what happened, of course, then you get to share the story. So I think that's the lovely thing about them, is it's so safe and sort of respectful, but actually one of the most important rules and ground rules at Acorn to Oak is that you give yourself permission to have fun. And we use ground rules in any of our courses because it sets a good boundary, and everybody knows that they're being respected and they're being heard, and everybody has their say. And so it's really important to have the rule of allowing yourself to have fun, because it's something we don't do enough. One thing I've noticed is a huge difference recently between the people that are coping with lockdown and the people that aren't. And it's like the ones that are the ones that seem to be really engaging with their imagination and their inner child. And I mean, we've seen box slides downstairs and all sorts of things. I've seen a cardboard castle on a trampoline in the garden, like somebody's chalk painted their house multicoloured for the NHS. Like, people are really engaging and just doing crazy stuff just for the hell of it, because it's fun. And that's when you've got an element of it's all about the fun. However, we're here to do the work that's going to get you to where you really would love to be. It's just amazing. It's just such an interesting dynamic, never experienced before. So
yeah, we certainly I don't know, certainly is quite unique, like you say.
Yeah, sorry, Adina, did you have anything you wanted to add with us? We're yakking away, we're chatters.
Yes, what I was going to say is that what I also love about Acorn to Oak is that it really is a teaching company. And, you know, there's the saying of give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, teach a man how to fish and you feed him for the rest of his life. This is the ethos that Acorn to Oak is going by. And you get so many tools that you can actually use in your day-to-day life, even actually from the community to community calls, which again are free. You get so much wisdom that you can use in your day-to-day life, that you can understand, oh, this, I'm feeling this because this is what is happening. Or you can use the Pono tool that we use as well, and it's just a really easy but effective way of leading your life, of passing on the tools and doing the work in a fun and deep way.
Yeah, absolutely, and very much with the community. I mean, I'm busy on Monday evenings, so I can't make the calls. But like you say, it's having those people that you can just sort of check in with and, you know, run things by, share your ideas, do some processes and that sort of thing. And it really does sort of, especially while we're in lockdown, it's like, well, you know, it's very much where we get the reference of the buffalo from and hitting the storm. It's like, we're in a storm, so let's club together and make it as easy as possible, you know. And very much sort of just touching back on the training again. It was one of those things. I've had so many experiences with it where it's like just the training second to none, and I didn't really realise just how much until to teach under the Acorn to Oak ban. You have to have a teaching qualification. Is sort of one of their requirements due to the high standards that they hold, and I've gone away on the training, and it was at that point that I started seeing sort of lots of different aspects of the training that I'd received, and started joining all the dots together, and it's like, so they do that because of that, and that because of that, and it just reinforced. I mean, it was something that I just took on trust and just knew that was, it was good training, and, sometimes you don't need sort of that scientific proof almost, but then once I gained an understanding sort of from the other side of the classroom, it was just one of those things that really did sort of make that difference for me.
Yeah, it certainly did for me. But yeah, just wanted to sort of talk about some of the other courses that we offer as well. So obviously, we're just about to go into a break. So we'll continue this on the other side.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. Om Times Radio. IOM FM. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. Om Times Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single Om Times endeavor. Host your show with Om Times Radio Network.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of Om Times Magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going On. My passion is sifting through information, research and innovations from new thought teachers, speakers and researchers, pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are, why we're here, and how quickly impossible becomes normal when we open our minds, expand our awareness, and accept that the only limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. So if you're the kind of forward-thinking, eager investigator of what lies beyond the current reality that most perceive, why not make a date to come play with me in the field of possibilities at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, and together we can discover what's really going on.
We are talking about your life, Ever wonder, is this as good as it gets? No, it could be so much better. At Acorn to Oak, we know you are seeking more happiness, joy, unconditional love, financial freedom, passion, and purpose. Find your unique mojo and live an extraordinary life. Want to know more? Contact us at our website, acorntooak.org.uk.
Long ago, you wouldn't think of galloping on a horse while doing calligraphy, and you wouldn't have attempted to ride your bike while typing a letter. Yet you think you can safely operate a multi-ton vehicle while texting? Behind the wheel is no place to multitask. If you want to BRB, drive now and text later. Lives depend on it.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
So just to sort of touch on a little bit more about what I was saying just before the break, and talk a little bit about the training, but you know, once again it comes with a bit of a story behind it, and you know, it was I mean, for me the realization I got from the experience I had was just how much work you can get done in the right environment. Now Acorn to Oak, with their classrooms very much being sort of based on energy medicine and that side of things, you know, they are set up in a high vibrational manner. You know, if you imagine for those of you that have had a Reiki treatment, well, we do the same to the room, and we get it, like, you know, plugged into the mains and cooking on gas. And me and Matthew decided to go away on a retreat, and it was an introduction to shaman's tools. We was working with a Peruvian shaman and his wife Javier and Jess. I mean, they're just two incredible people in themselves.
Just amazing, yeah.
You know, I mean, you want to see joy personified? Look at those guys. But and once again, you know, that's definitely another story. But we've decided to go away on this retreat, and you know, as always, we sort of there's always options and affordability and that sort of thing. So me and Matthew decided to camp because it saved on the accommodation costs. It was supposed to be summer, which is, you know, it's always a bit iffy in England. So we've made that decision, and we've set up tent on the first night, and at which point the heavens have opened. So. Yeah. And thankfully, Pennie had said to us, right, here you are, guys, just in case, there's the key to the classroom. It was sort of in a separate building, so we wouldn't disturb anybody. If you get stuck, you've got to back up. So at 4 o'clock in the morning, me and Matthew sort of decide we've got to make a run for it. Like, we've got water dripping onto our beds. We're soaked. Like, you can imagine, it's absolutely wetting it down, and we're in a flimsy tent that's just not holding up. So we make a break for it, and we head for the classroom. And yeah, you know, it was 7 o'clock start in the morning for sort of healing sounds, grounding, protection, and meditation, and that sort of thing. So I've had maybe 3 hours sleep if I'm lucky, and I've woken up in the morning and sort of got ready, and sort of we all tend to congregate outside of class, and then we all sort of go in together. And as I'm walking through the door, Pennie sort of looked at me and she said, and the story is you're tired. And my initial thought was, well, how is that a story? I've only had 3 hours sleep, and it, you know, as we call them, the mind monsters started running, and da-da-da-da-da-da. So anyway, I've hit the classroom, and you know, we've done the sort of the meditation and that sort of thing. We've had breakfast. We then worked till I think it was about 11 o'clock at night. Don't get me wrong, obviously, you stop you have plenty of breaks, and you stop for dinner for a couple of hours and that sort of thing. But we was in the classroom from 7 in the morning till 11 o'clock at night, and all day sort of correct and present. It wasn't until I walked out of the classroom at 11 o'clock at night, and it was like, whoa, and now I'm tired. You know, at the time I couldn't understand it, but you know, to an extent, it's the classroom and how it's set up. It's, you know, it's how the things are run. very much, you know, if people are flagging, then we stop and have a break, and we go when we're all ready, sort of thing. But it was just that, actually, you know, we tell ourselves we can't do something because I'm tired or because of this or that or the other. And I had an absolutely blinding day where we was on a retreat with like-minded people doing sort of various different shamanic dances and learning about their culture and their sort of healing ways. And you know, it's one of them where we look back on it now and we think, and it's like, yeah, I remember the drips on my head and that side of things. And you've got the humour, but then you've also got this real good lesson that somehow you sometimes miss in life, you know.
Yeah, very much so. And often it's the stories that we tell ourselves. Oh, I'm tired. I can't concentrate. And actually, you can. And it's about just reconnecting almost a lot of the time. Adina, is there anything you'd like to cover? I'm just aware this is the last part of the.
Yeah, so also what I love is just building off on what you're saying, guys, is the expansion of consciousness. You know, at any one point we can only react from where we are at, from the consciousness that we have at the time. So, for example, you know, if a person has never felt unconditional love, they are not able to give it because they have no idea what that actually feels. And it's just, you know, sometimes, as I'm sure maybe some of us have felt, we're looking for something and we're not quite sure yet, but it feels like we have a hole within us. And, you know, we've tried pizza, we've tried beer, we've tried this, that, and the other, and it doesn't seem to work. So then we know that there's something missing. So finally, when we find that space, and definitely for me, it was Acorn to walk. It's like, oh, you can just relax and take a break. It's like, oh, this feels like home. And actually it is, because that is our natural state, you know, joy, peace, bliss. And that allows your consciousness to stretch in such a natural way with ease and grace, and able to understand yourself and your experiences. And, you know, then all of the behavior of self-blaming or etc., whatever it might be, just falls away, because you know the reason why all of those things have happened to you in order to bring you to that very experience on that chair in that classroom. So it's just honestly beyond the words, but I am doing my best in order to describe the close-knitted community, heart space, and the pure joy and love that we do feel when we do the work and when we're in the classroom.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's what attracted me was the realness to it, and that's what I really loved, because so sometimes in this world it can be confusing what's real and what's not, what's true and what's not, and to actually get some truth and not be sort of misguided, it's just sort of a breath of fresh air, really. Because I found, especially when I was looking at, when I started my journey, looking into various different things, and it was the real deep work and that sort of heart-centered community that really sort of drew me in, because it's lots of different people talking about their experiences. It's not sort of just one person talking about what they're selling. And I know there's a lot of that going on at the moment, and it's that I wanted to sort of just add a little bit, that I know a lot of people are scared at the moment, and there's a lot going on, and I know as the weeks go on in lockdown, there's various different conspiracy theories flying around, and people seem to be getting deeper into sort of the fear and all of that sort of thing. And it's kind of like, you know, when you're spiritual, it's very easy to rise above a lot of that, because, you know, even if there are conspiracies going on, and I'm not saying there are, but even if there are, it's part of God's plan. And it's not saying God's a conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but it's like we think we're bigger than we are. And actually, we're going through a universal global change at the moment. And we think we have control, let alone somebody else has control of us. That's delusion. That's the madness. And for people to have a sort of a real community that they can connect with and like-minded people that are going to be very real about things. I know I'm quite opinionated, but I'll always say that it is just my opinion, and that is my view on it. I'm not ever dissing anybody else's view or anything like that. And again, it comes from the training that we do, because it's not poo-pooing anybody else or anything else just because you have a different opinion, but it's not speaking your truth because you're fearful of what people may judge you, because again, that's not helpful. So it was just to say that there's a universal plan going on right here, right now, and actually embrace it. I know there's a lot of people that have found it quite difficult at the moment. They seem to be waking up spiritually, asking a lot more questions like, well, what is life really about? And even just the confusion of the situation can lead them to ask more questions. And I know we've mentioned it in previous shows. It's finding that community or that group of people that you can get various different opinions from various different people that have different backgrounds and all that sort of thing, but all have a similar view, or have come to a similar view because of an experience. Because for me, that was within the trainings, it was sort of the experiences you have and also the experience you have in your daily life. It's something we say with breath work. Breath work or Breath4life Breath Work is the modality I use, or we use. And we always say that the proof's in the pudding, and the pudding is your daily life. So yes, during a breathwork session, you'll push through many different emotions connected to various different traumas or experiences within your life. So you'll feel refreshed, you'll feel revived, you'll feel very energetic, almost like you've charged up, because ultimately you've been plugged into source for a couple of hours. But it's the daily changes, or the changes within your daily life, that you notice when somebody says something to you that would usually wind you up. It's like pressing your big red button, and usually you'd want to tell them all sorts of things. But with breath work, what it helps when you're dealing with emotional stuff, because you're changing yourself emotionally inside, it changes how you respond to things on the outside. So somebody will say something and you'll go, that's interesting. I usually would have told them where to go by now, but I haven't. Why am I not wound up? That's strange. And that's what we call an aha moment, because you're realising that you're responding to something that would usually wind you up in a completely different, calm manner. And it's those changes that are the most profound. So it's sort of using that. It's something that I use in my daily life sort of a lot.
Yeah, I mean, once again, it's why, why ultimately why are we on here talking about this now? It's why do we do what we do again?
Yeah.
It's that bringing it back, and the friendships that you make along the way, and that sort of thing. I mean, and once again, coming back to sort of what Adina was saying about being real and that sort of thing, it is very much. If I've got women troubles, yes, don't get me wrong, I'll get a male perspective, and, obviously me and Matthew live together, so we talk a lot. But if I need a female perspective, I know that I can get straight on the phone to Adina. Right, mate, here's my situation. From a woman's point of view, how do you see it? What's going on? And I know that I'm going to get for, as she sees it, obviously, you know, she's not a mind reader, but I'm going to get an honest assessment of the situation, if it was her, what that would mean, or whatever. But it's, you know, it is that sort of the people you meet on retreats and that, you know, the journey ends up being lifelong, I think, in a lot of cases, you know, because we do all have that similarity and that connection, and
it's like that soul family, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And also it is that trust in them that you're not just going to get 3 layers of BS. You're going to get, actually, mate, I think this is going on here, or I think that's going on there, because, and I think it's probably one of the most misunderstood or misinterpreted parts of being spiritual and being real. It's just like, sometimes the things we're told and we tell each other aren't nice. But actually, the place that it comes from, which is unconditional love in your heart, it's like, well, if I didn't love him enough, I wouldn't say it, because I wouldn't care.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? But it's knowing they're genuine in that, and not just slating you for the sake of criticism sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it does, when you realise that somebody has that level of unconditional love for you, it blows your mind. And this can come from any relationship, can come from a friendship. So thank you very much for listening. Just to add, if you're interested in any coaching or any breath works, just get in touch with us, get in touch with the community via Facebook. I hope you all enjoyed the show. Be good to yourselves in this crazy time, and keep safe.
Take care, everybody.
Safe.